This Monday, May 28th, head down to the Park Theatre to see melodic death metal band The Black Dahlia Murder with Homewrecker. Tickets are $30 in advance, $35 at the door, and doors are at 7 o'clock. Again, that's Black Dahlia Murder, Homewrecker, May 28th at the Park Theatre. This week's episode of Witchpolice Radio is brought to you by Fourth Quarter Records. It's a Winnipeg-based label and recording studio home to Threepeat, as well as Eggs, Solo Projects, and Charlie Fetta. You can find their merchandise, including the awesome new Threepeat hoodies, online at fourthquarterrecords.com. And if you haven't seen these things, you should definitely check them out. I mean, a lot of local artists are wearing them right now, and it's very cool to see the support from across genres. As soon as those Threepeat hoodies came out, I've been seeing all kinds of people posting on social media, and it's, people in rock bands, electronic music, soul music, whatever. They're all sort of sporting the Threepeat gear. So there's definitely a lot of love and support for Threepeat within the local music community at large, and it's very cool to see.
You're listening to Garbage Hill, Winnipeg's first podcast network.
Welcome to Witchpolice Radio. I am in a house with a Christmas tree in April, which is the first thing I noticed when I came in here, and it's pretty awesome, actually. That's dedication to a holiday.
I said not 10 minutes before you got here. Maybe this would have been an appropriate time to take down the Christmas tree.
It's the first time I've seen that this late in the year. I kind of respect it. I have a neighbor who still has a pumpkin out from Halloween, and it's turning into just like mush. It's the most disgusting. I take pictures of it every couple of weeks, just because I'm so shocked that it's still there. Yeah.
It's one thing we got in common then, because I just shoveled my pumpkin from Halloween off the step like 2 days ago.
If this was a real tree, I would have it.
Yeah, it would probably be just liquid at this point.
But the truth is, it's in an unobtrusive spot, so I just forget it's there.
Fair enough.
And there was definitely one year that you put like Easter decorations on it.
Yeah,
that definitely happened when I lived here.
We turned it into the Valentine's tree and then an Easter tree and then took it down.
I've thought of that before. Just like this thing, so much trouble to put up, just leave it. But yeah, just aside from the Christmas tree, there is an actual reason that we're here. So I think that maybe the best way to do it. First of all, I'm here with 3 members of the Moonlit Road, and is this all 3 members, or are we missing someone?
Well, the Moonlit Road is a funny band because it's like a revolving cast of people.
Okay.
But these are the main 3.
These are the main 3. Okay.
It's always him, and it's almost always the 2 of us.
Right.
Pretty much almost always.
Okay. Well,
in most bands.
Let's go around the table here. Everyone introduce themselves and what they play in the band. We'll start with you because this is obviously your project here.
So I'm Jordan. I play the guitar and fuck around with a lot of other things, but mostly I play the guitar.
Okay. Fair enough.
Songs.
And sing the songs.
Yeah, I can. I try to do that too.
It's not my job.
Well, what is your job?
Everything else, pretty much.
I'm Joel, and my job is to play the guitar.
Okay.
I'm Jeremy. I'm drummer and smacking Jordan when he falls out of time, I guess.
Yeah, that happens.
From behind the drums, you can.
I throw
He
sticks at
usually
him.
hits loud things.
Okay,
Like, when I play
fair
a
enough,
lead,
yeah.
he has to hit a crash really
Yeah.
hard so I know when to stop. Because like, there's a point where I fall off the muse
Right.
and start to suck ass.
Is it noticeable enough to people listening that you're trying to get
It's
them?
noticeable enough to these two.
Well, they're used to it though, right?
Yeah.
It just sounds like it's just a really big cue feel.
Okay.
Just like
Okay.
Yeah.
Not quite like I can feel it coming.
Every song has In the Air Tonight.
That would be amazing.
That's the end of the solo. There it is.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
But so aside from the obviously frequent mistakes,
Hold on, can we start over? This is
Start to think we might suck.
this is going perfectly well. Aside from the crash cues for the mistakes, so you guys. Just looking at what I can find online, and unlike a lot of the bands I interview on the show, there's not really a lot that you guys have up there. I mean, I think I found one song that was recorded, and I think I first kind of stumbled upon you because you were playing one of Greg Arcade's shows last year. And, as people who listen to the show know, Greg's been on like 8 times. Like, he's a regular sort of semi-regular guest on the show, and I've known him for a long time. So I always try to keep track of all these bands he's finding, because he's sort of, especially with country music, he's kind of out there picking and choosing between all the people who are trying to do country in Manitoba, right?
The Godfather of country.
I think he's going for that title. Yeah. So that was kind of where you first kind of the name appeared, and I was like, what is this? And so do you kind of consider yourselves a country band first and foremost, or is there's obviously more to it, based on hearing it and based on your bios and things, but is that sort of the main overarching genre?
Yeah, like, I guess I describe us as country alternative because...
is that different from alt country? Because that's the
Yes.
thing too, right? Okay, so
Yes.
how do you differentiate between the two?
Well, like, I think Greg maybe falls more into, like, the alt country, like, more legitimate country sound, and my stuff, I'm heavily influenced by, like, bands from the 90s. Like, so I love, like, Bush. And Smashing Pumpkins.
Okay.
And, like, and so, like, it's 4 chords, and some of my themes that I talk about are a little more hardcore than, like, Florida Georgia Line, who can go...
Yeah, well,
I guess you can't hear that.
No, I think people will figure out what you're talking about. I think it's pretty obvious. I don't know if we have any fans of that band who listen to the show. There might be. If there, I apologize
hope not.
for that rude gesture. But
you should listen to something other than Florida Georgia Line.
Probably.
It'd be good for you.
Well, that's interesting though that you mentioned those bands because I mean that stuff. I love that '90s stuff too, and because it's kind of what I grew up on, and you guys probably as well. I imagine.
Our Lady Peace records.
Right. So, but I mean that's just very characterized by that kind of loud, soft, you know, building up to the heavy part, building back down. Yeah. Does that come through in what you're doing? I mean, in a country way, or
I think it does. I mean, like the stuff that you'll hear on this show today, I played the acoustic on. But I have a tendency to just kind of dime everything that has gain or volume when I get going.
Okay.
Sometimes that kind of gets a little sloppy because I started off playing punk.
Right.
And you...
Like everyone else in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Any band ever.
So you can kind of get away with not playing technically perfect.
Sure, yeah.
But... I find when you play country, you have to clean it up a little bit and like think about things like, songs are supposed to have beats.
Sure.
So.
As we established.
Yeah.
But for I just mean the kind of the dynamics thing where I mean that's.
I ripped that off hardcore.
Yeah, is that how does that fit into more of a country sound then? How do you because you're not gonna I'm assuming just get like super heavy and all of a sudden unless.
No, I think you hear it more in the way that the guitar parts are arranged. And especially when we have a full kit, you'll hear the drums pick up in choruses and stuff. So it gets loud, but it's not like Smashing Pumpkins where you go from like a soft burst
to screaming,
big muff pedal on hard.
Sure.
Like,
I would say that I try to think about that when I put guitar parts on. Like one of my, I already referenced Our Lady Peace, but another big band that I love is the Foo Fighters.
Okay, fair enough.
And I think that's a thing that they do very well. If maybe sometimes they don't do enough other things, but but the way that they layer stuff up really influences me as a musician, and so I try to think, okay, well, the chorus needs to just be way bigger. And maybe
their choruses are huge.
Maybe it doesn't always, but when like I find that a lot of the stuff that Jordan writes works really well with a nice laid back kind of verse that has a lot more space because he writes some pretty good lyrics and you can hear those come through.
Right.
And then in the chorus, it's like, all right, here we go.
Punch it up a bit, yeah.
And there are shows where I've actually played drums and Jeremy's played bass. And when I'm drumming with Jordan, my mentality is the same. It's like, all right, chorus, here we go.
Somewhere there's a video of us, and like we've played in a few bands together, often as a 3-piece. So I think that maybe affects the way we come at it too. Like we're all
like a power trio kind of.
Yeah. Like which is a lot of fun, but it's limiting in some ways too. But there's a video somewhere of us playing in one of our bands in Transcona, and you can see me like rocking out on an SG, like all 300 pounds of me behind that. And then you can see Joel on this crappy backline PV drum kit that sounded like absolute garbage, but he was rocking it. And I think we played a Skinner cover.
We did.
Yeah. Oh man,
it sounds pretty good actually.
It was fun. It was fun.
And like going on your theme of '90s music, didn't we play a Pearl Jam cover?
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
what song did you play?
Well, it was a cover of a cover because we did Last Kiss.
Oh right,
the Pearl Jam.
The Pearl Jam way,
Yeah, came from the Pearl Jam one.
Yeah, that was fun.
The only reason I'm kind of dwelling on the '90s thing here is because like it just seems so disconnected from country. And I mean, obviously, country is the strong thing. What you're doing, just hearing you play, that's the vibe, right? But
sure,
it's just like it's cool that people do that nowadays, especially more than they ever used to, where they can take totally disparate sounding things and mash them together. But how does that play out with country audiences? Like, I mean, does it? what do people expect when you guys show up and you start playing? I mean, does that ever affect kind of the reaction you get? It's because you're going a bit heavier than.
It's kind of interesting to watch because it depends on the venue. Like,
okay.
I had kind of stopped playing for a little while when my kids were born, and then I finished a job and I went, you know what, I want to pick up the guitar and start playing again. So I went on a little solo acoustic tour of Manitoba and started playing again.
Okay.
And so it was just me and the guitar for a long time, which meant people were actually listening to what I was saying.
Sure, yeah.
So then the things I started to write about started to become things that mattered to me instead of just trying to shoot fish in a barrel with a pop country song.
Right.
I started singing about heavier things. So some of the lyrics that you hear in my songs talk about things like mental illness and addictions, because those are two things that I've struggled with off and on through my life. I have bipolar disorder and generalized anxiety disorder. So like when you rang the bell, I was like, oh my god, I'm going to have a heart attack. Even though he seems like a cool guy, I'm crapping my pants, you know? And that's like all day, every day.
Yeah.
So that started to come into my music a little bit, and I realized that by doing that, it was therapeutic for me to do it, but it also was helping people because people would come up to me after shows and say, you know, that meant a lot to me when you sing about that because, you know, whatever their story was. And so I think that's where some of the 90s influence comes into the music too, because a lot of the stuff that I liked when I was growing up talked about things like that. Like,
sure, yeah.
Love Chris Cornell. I love Eddie Vedder. I love all those guys that everybody loves, but those aren't themes you hear in country.
Not very often, no.
No, and so that's the kind of thing I like to try to bring into the country is the stuff that people are too scared to talk about.
Cool. So about the, you're saying about anxiety and bipolar and all that stuff being kind of something that you're writing about, have you ever had issues where, like, how does that translate to going on stage, I guess I want to ask? I mean, as someone who's dealt with anxiety problems as well, I always felt that even doing this show, I'm totally comfortable interviewing someone, I'm fine. When I played in bands, I could play on stage, I was fine. But then it's like trying to have a conversation with a stranger, I'm freaking out and shitting my pants.
Yeah.
I went to an event for UMFM radio on the weekend, and I knew two people there, and I was like pretty much ready to bail as soon as I got there. Yet I can go to strangers' houses every week and do this and just whatever. It's totally, I'm completely comfortable. Do you have similar things like on stage? Do you feel that you can just go and play because that's your element, or is that also a difficult thing to do?
It's a weird thing for me because even around people that I'm very familiar with, like I've known these guys for over 10 years.
Yeah.
I'll still get anxious, you know, because part of me is always like, well, what's this person think about me? Or what are they going to say about me behind my back that I have no control over and shouldn't care about? But, you know...
We just tell you what we think.
Yeah. Well, that's the nice part about these guys.
Your face, right?
Yeah. No, and I prefer that, honestly. But I think sometimes that trips me up from taking opportunities because I get too afraid of the what-ifs instead of just like, well, why don't you just fucking do it?
Sure.
So part of why I started playing again was because it was... why don't you just fucking do it? Like, you like it, and it really doesn't matter what other people have to say about what you're doing or why you're doing it. You should quit caring about that. So, performing, I hadn't performed in like 2 or 3 years, and then I just booked a gig at a bar that I'd never played at before, and leading up to that, I kept telling my wife, I don't want to do this. I don't want to play anymore. I just want to go to work, come home, play with the kids, and go to bed like I do every other day. But she said no. Yeah, 7 o'clock bedtime. Whew, that's sweet. Yeah. So I showed up to that gig, and like all week I was dreading it, didn't want to do it. And then I got there, and I sat down, and I played the first song, and people were singing along, and the bar filled up, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, all right. And since then, it doesn't bother me to walk on stage and play anymore. Cool. That's kind of the place where I go where I don't feel anxious.
Yeah, for sure.
That being said, as soon as I walk off again, I'm like, all right, Kat, where's the video you took so I can hear where I fucked up? Because I'm sure I fucked up here and here and here and here and here. And then
nobody in the crowd noticed any of it.
Yeah. Like, they're not here to hear you. They're here to drink the beer. And you're just in the background or whatever.
And if they happen to like what you're doing, that's even better. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nobody notices that stuff.
No.
Except for the people playing.
I had a buddy who came to a gig a couple months ago, and he pointed out to me, after, like, he's a classmate of mine in school, and he was like, you made a couple of mistakes last night, I caught them, and I was like, you are an idiot. I made 100 mistakes.
It worked. and I've always been
Playing your own
told.
stuff, right? Like,
Yeah,
Sure.
well, yeah, that's the thing too. When people don't know your original material, they don't know when you
what
screw up.
perfect is.
Maybe it's supposed to sound like you.
They just go, oh, I like the words there.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's a cool melody.
Yeah.
And I find too, if you screw up on guitar, you just play it again, and people think it's supposed to be that way. Oh, you played it twice, so it must not be a mistake. Oh, he played it 4 times. Oh, but he played it off time and out of tune.
Yeah.
Maybe he just sucks. Like,
He's stuck in a loop. Then we have to reboot him.
Yeah. Maybe we're learning the song, the record skipping or whatever.
yeah.
Hang on, guys.
Yes,
Give
yeah.
us 2 minutes. We have to power Jordan down and then turn it back on again.
Quick, hit that crash really hard.
Yeah, keep hitting the crash. So it sounds like your song, you were doing this before the band, just on your own anyway, right? You were singing, writing songs and playing them.
We have a weird history because, like, when I moved to let's go back to, like, the beginning.
Okay.
I met Joel at a place called Rock Lake United Church Camp
Okay.
when you were just a wee little baby. And
Ooh, I'd have been 16.
15 or 16, yeah. I know your hair was, like, friggin' long.
Yeah, it's getting close, man.
Pretty close. And I was a staff member when he was a counselor, and that's
Okay.
when we met. I feel like we probably played a few talent shows together that summer, probably like some Neil Young covers or something, because everybody can play that shit.
We did Layla that one time.
Oh yeah, I can play that riff, but I don't bother to really learn other songs.
Right.
I don't know, covers have never been my thing. But we started a band, Jeremy, Joel, and I, after I moved to the city, and then we played with Glenn.
Oh, played a few shows.
The guy
Be
who's
careful. Maybe Glenn listens to the show.
Glenn, if you're out there, I'm sorry, but like, learn to tune a fucking bass and not play the pick.
No offense to bass players who play with picks.
Yeah, no, I'm
I'm
not.
sure there's a lot of them who listen to this too.
I'm not ragging on the
Lots of them
pick.
are great.
I'm not ragging on the pick. I'm ragging on the fact that he'd hand me his bass and be like, "Can you tune this for me?" And then I would turn to Joel and be like, "Can you tune these 2 things for me?"
Some offense to bass players that don't know how to use a tuner.
Right.
Yeah.
this is a good
If
point.
you're playing on stage, I think.
And like, he had really nice equipment, and like, I feel like he was maybe in the band because he was good looking.
I guess that's a reason.
Yeah, I mean, and he filled a spot. Right?
Okay.
So I guess we've always kind of been a 3-piece now that I think about it.
Well, I guess what I was getting at with the original question about, you having songs just on your own, apart from the band, is how do the songs you write change when you have these guys involved? I mean,
Sure.
structurally or just the general tone of them. Like, are you kind of surprised by the direction they take once you have the other 2 guys involved? And then I guess for you guys, same thing, right? If you hear him playing an acoustic song, what do you add to it, and how do you kind of turn it into the band's song versus just a guy with an acoustic guitar?
I have a kind of strange thing where I like to be in a band and I like to be a solo performer, and that kind of blends a lot in the way that I write songs, so that if I have to go out and play by myself, the song carries itself well enough.
Okay.
But if I play with the band, it's even better. I think I was surprised by what they brought to the music when we first started playing together, because like, oh, these guys kick ass. I gotta up my game like
Right.
big time
It's in the symbol.
in order to keep up with these guys. Because oh man,
Before we bury that joke too far, I want to.
I don't know if it can ever die. It's
I
pretty
want to
good.
state that, and we'll make it 100 more times. But I want to state before we make it 100 more times that perhaps Jordan's best skill, and he's better at this than anyone I know in the world, is not giving himself enough credit. He's a way better guitar player than he'll admit.
well,
He's a way better
come to a
songwriter
show
than
and
he'll admit. So.
oh
You know,
man,
every once in a while he does get lost in how many measures we've played through. So he's like, "Is this 5 or 8? What I'm playing still good? 'Cause I'm having fun." And that's when
that's usually when they cut me off. When I start stepping on every gain pedal on my board, they're like, okay, he's done.
So he's a very strong musician and a good writer. Sometimes he forgets to count how many chord progressions we've gone through in solos.
Like every
That's
solo.
where Jeremy has to bail his ass out.
Yeah.
That's where
Like with a bucket.
In the Air Tonight comes in.
Right. But that's almost like, it's almost a good thing, because I can relate to that as well. I was in the last band I was in, which is now probably 10 years ago, but
Yeah.
I was a 3-piece. I was playing guitar and singing, and we had bass and drums. And the bassist and the drummer were incredibly talented musicians, and I was just kind of fucking around on top. I was making some noise. It was pretty close to the right key or whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, if I hadn't had them, it would be terrible. But the fact that they were there keeping things steady, it kind of made it like I was probably better than I thought I was too. Like I think people were, no one said I was a terrible guitar player or whatever. I thought I was, kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, and like no one's ever come up to me and been like, "Oh man, dude, you should learn how to play the guitar."
But having people who are steady behind you and are keeping things kind of locked in is really, really helpful, I think.
Yeah.
Especially if you are kind of meandering and things like that, just as the type of player, right? Like,
Yeah. Well, and like we're recording an EP right now with Colin Jessen, who plays for an amazing band called The Lovers, and you should go listen to them because they are super fucking
awesome. Are they
awesome.
paying you for that? You have their shirt on and everything.
Well, they're not paying me or anything, but like Colin's sort of like, I guess, like a father figure to me in the music business. He's taught me so much, and one of the things that he taught me when I came in was like, dude, this is called a metronome, and you should go home and play with this thing because you need to. And I was so angry at him because I was like, "Oh, Colin, you're killing my muse here, dude. I'm a singer-songwriter. I don't need to have timing." And I couldn't do it. I couldn't play to the metronome to save my soul. And then he gave me like a pep talk one night, and I was like, "Oh, okay, fuck you, Colin. I'll try it again." And I went downstairs and I sat down with the metronome, and I could play to the metronome. And I was like, "Fuck, he was right." I don't want to tell him that though. So. That was one of the things that I learned while we were recording is that there's value in getting your shit together and playing things properly, because when you do it to a click, other people can play with you,
right?
And that's nice.
And that project's easier for you guys too.
Yes, it has been nice.
But it's always, like, I think our songwriting process has always been a lot of fun because we can, like, I think our skill sets complement each other really well because, like, Jordan's a hell of a songwriter and I am not. But so usually when we sit down to arrange music, Jordan comes in with basically a fully written song, and Joel and I put something on top of it, and really the arrangement process is
play half the song and then go to a gig and play the whole song.
But in all seriousness, it's like, okay, maybe 3 times through that chord progression is a strange choice. Like maybe we go 2 or 4.
Yeah.
Is there somewhere we can put a break?
Yeah.
Do we cut out after? Do we do a double chorus? And that's the song.
Can I have 4 more guitar solos, please?
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly how we do.
But Jordan builds the house and Jeremy carries in the furniture and I paint it.
Yeah.
That's his, like, none of it happens if he doesn't, when he brings it to us, it already works. And so our job it becomes basically, all right, what's great about this and what are the cool moments, and then how do we just make those moments bigger or make those moments hit heavier.
Okay.
And not heavy in like a heavy metal kind of way.
Sure, yeah.
Just like give them more
we should write a
impact.
metal song though.
Uh-oh.
I still own a Dean
No,
ML.
veto. I'm using a veto.
Get a friggin' Floyd Rose and
Didn't even get the sentence finished as soon as
I have been trying to classically condition him over the last few months to continue to use less gain, because the last song we recorded, his guitar was pretty clean, and I was like, "Oh, this is great."
yeah.
There's always quite a bit of. His strumming is always pretty rhythmic, and it's not just like 1, 3, 1, 3. Like it has quite a bit of a rhythm to it, and it carries a lot of the groove of the song, so to speak.
Okay.
And so I find I need to kind of be over top of that, because if I'm underneath it, I find that I have to match that, and sometimes it just doesn't do it the same way every time. Every time. It works great, and so I've been like, Jordan, we don't need to stick on 4 gain pedals at a time.
Yeah. Well,
I'll use 2, you use 1, and it's gonna sound fat, I promise.
Yeah. And the pedal board has shrunk to less gain pedals. Now it's a tuner, a Boss SD1, and a TC Dark Matter to boost the 3 solos that I play. And that's
Well,
it.
just looking at the pedal board over there, I think this is definitely the most pedals I've seen in any band that would fit under the country spectrum locally. Anyway, it's pretty heavy duty. Like that's
like, I'm not a country guitar player. I
wouldn't have guessed, but
No, Buxton Road covers a lot more.
No offense to anybody listening that really loves country music.
Yeah.
I don't listen to country music, except for the stuff that Zach Brown did with Dave Grohl.
right.
Which is amazing.
He did one with Chris Cornell. You should check out too.
Actually, I have that album. That song is great too.
But that's kind of a cool thing to bring to the band, I guess. Anyway, right? If you're not
Yeah.
if country's not your thing, you're taking something totally different.
And so I come in as a rock guitar player, and I play in a cover band that does 3 hour
Okay.
or 3 hour classic rock shows. It's covering music from like songs that came out this year to songs to Beatles, right?
Okay.
And like basically you could probably find a song every 5 years in between, and so that's why I have 20 pedals.
Makes
because,
sense. Yeah.
Because I know the audience can't tell the difference between 5 different overdrives, but I know if it's the
Right.
so,
You have the authentic. Yeah.
and it makes me feel good.
And like,
So yeah, like I come from that kind of,
Okay.
and then I'm just trying to find a way that I can do stuff that's familiar to me, but it works in the country sound. Because I would say that like Jeremy has maybe played a little more country than I have, but we're both more or less rock guys playing on Jordan's country songs, and
Sure.
that's kind of how that.
Yeah,
All
I think
comes
going
together.
like to go back to your. I think that's probably the shortest answer. To go back to your earlier question of like how are we blending country with the '90s influence? I think that's probably the shortest answer. Is
They're rock
Jordan has listened
musicians.
to country all his life, and Joel
you're
and I
rock
never
guys.
really have.
yeah.
It just sort of happens naturally.
We've
It's
just known each other for a long time, and it works because he likes the music that influenced us.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like it's not like we radically take it from country. Like when we took that quick break there, I was trying to think of what's a country comparable
Yeah.
to at least the level of intensity, and it's I don't know, like I mean, I don't listen to enough country to give a fair judgment
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
but it's like we're certainly not like we're not 90s grunge heavy in any way.
No.
But we don't sound like pop country either.
Right.
You know, it's almost like if Southern rock was just a little bit too country to be Southern rock.
Okay. And they're close enough anyway.
Yeah.
At the time too, right? So
You
they're
know,
not gonna-
we're just, if you balance those two, I think we just tip the scale to country.
Okay.
I think it kind of has like a Tom Petty vibe a little
Sure.
bit, like that kind of Americana thing. I think comes out.
And he often ventured into country territory a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's like that or CCR kind
Okay.
of
Yeah.
like comparisons like
Makes
Why
that.
sense,
couldn't
yeah.
we think of that earlier?
It's a good
It's-
example.
I describe the Eagles this way too, and I'm not comparing us to the Eagles by any stretch. But if you don't like country music,
Yeah.
you can call them rock, and if you don't like rock music, you can call them country, and either way you're happy and they're great.
I like both rock and country, but I hate the Eagles.
I guess that's the Venn diagram. I guess.
Yeah.
I grew up in a small town, lived down by the creek. We went fishing on Friday nights, cooked them up and shake and bake. Thunderstruck on the radio,
One thing that always kind of comes up whenever I'm interviewing anyone who has any kind of country sound whatsoever, whether it's someone who's someone like Quentin Blair, who's very, very pure country, or someone like anyone really, someone who's more punk, whatever. I feel like Winnipeg, and I'm kind of curious what your take is on this. Winnipeg is really, really into roots music. Like, there's definitely a big community, always has been, for country, folk, bluegrass, everything in that kind of blues, right? Yeah. But my impression that I've always got of Winnipeg's roots obsession is that people here like things that sound a little bit broken. They don't want... There are, again, Quentin Blair's a great example of people who do very, very pure country music and succeed at it and are very good at it. But a lot of the bands that come out of this region, not just the city, I guess, that play country music are kind of... They maybe have a punk edge to it, or there's something a bit weird about it, or it's like... I don't know. Did you get that impression that sort of there's kind of an offness to the country, rather than really, really big kind of twangy cowboy hats things? There's always some kind of griminess almost, and I don't know if it's.
I mean, I wonder if it's not that there's. If you look back at the history of Winnipeg, like there's some big rock acts that come out of Winnipeg too, right? And I wondered if that's the thing that's appealing to me about rock music is not necessarily that it's loud. I mean, I like that it's loud, but like, you know, my favorite band growing up was Our Lady Peace, and it's that edge and that weird falsetto and that everything isn't quite nice, right? And that, the same thing is special about that as that kind of
because something a little bit off kind of appeals to you, right? Cause, yeah,
it's just got a little bit of an edge to it that's unique instead of over polished, and I think that's been a common thread through some Winnipeg artists from a lot of different genres.
I think so, yeah.
And I think that maybe that's where it comes through in some of that country music stuff too.
I think too that the city has a really good history of jamming, if that makes sense, where it's really easy to say, I'm freezing my ass off this winter, I'm going to go to my buddy's house with my guitar and we're gonna play. And so everybody's influences kind of get mixed up. So it doesn't really matter if you're a country player or you're a punk player and you're playing together. That all falls into that pot, and that's what comes out.
That makes sense.
Like, I grew up listening to my grandpa play bluegrass music on upright bass and guitar, and then my dad was a rock musician. My brother, I made him get a bass because I wanted a band, and that was the easiest way to get a bass player, was to be like, hey Eric, we're going to St. John's Music, and you're getting a bass. And he was like, oh, but I don't play the bass. I'm like, well, you do now. And he doesn't play with a pick either. So,
Jordan, what was your band with your brother called?
It was called Wayward Son. And it was a three-piece.
Okay, the guy with the three-piece,
yeah. And we played punk. And I can remember we played at care home, like an old folks home, because they had
How did you get that?
I don't know. I still don't know.
When the town is small enough,
I guess
play anywhere.
It was a small town. Yeah, like I've lived in small towns my whole life.
Not a Winnipeg care home.
No. But like they got us to come play. I don't think they had a clue what they were doing. But like I stepped on my Boss heavy metal distortion pedal at song 1, and I didn't turn it off until we were done.
Nice.
And so like 20 minutes through our angry set, we were done.
Yeah.
And they were looking at us like, oh, you need to kill an hour. So we just played our set again and again and again until the hour was over. And I don't think anybody, I mean, I know they didn't remember because they didn't remember what the first song was. And they all just sat there with their wigs blown back like, holy shit. We did that there. We did that at a school. We did that at a church. I don't think people really knew what Wayward Son was. Right. So, I mean, I still have a jacket from that band hanging in my closet. We were cool. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, we don't have jackets.
Yeah, I know a lot of bands don't have jackets. It's kind of cool that you were playing like care homes and you had merch already.
Yeah. Well, I can owe that to supportive parents. That's one thing that I'm lucky with. My parents always were, yeah, you want to play? Go play it.
That's awesome.
I got my first guitar when I was like 6, probably. I think I still have that in my basement. And Dad kind of showed me a few chords. I took a few lessons, and I played until I could outplay the teacher in my town.
Right.
And then I went to the teacher in the next town, did the same thing. And then that teacher was like, fuck you, go home and play along with the radio. And I was like, oh, so you mean I have to learn how to play by ear now? Oh. And then I did that, and then I forgot everything I learned. And so now I write songs.
Interesting journey there for sure.
Yeah. It's been fun.
Do you have a video of the care home thing? Did that ever get documented?
I hope not.
Oh, I hope so.
That would be fantastic.
See, at that time, I was actually like like jacked. I was in really good shape.
He was jacked when I met him.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
At that time, I also had maroon hair and mesh shirts.
Okay.
So
You look like one of the Hardy books.
yeah, I did. like full on.
Get the tape. Wow, that's the joke.
Yeah, it was-
Screwing up my wrestling references.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, the image is there though, right?
Yeah, the mesh shirt and the purple hair. Yeah, you get
It was good. It was good.
I'm
Those
sure the
were
old
the
folks
days.
love that. Yeah.
You know, and I'm just remembering now the one that we played at school was a Christmas concert, and I don't think Jingle Bells has ever been played that heavy before on my Yamaha Shredder Super Strat, but we rocked it, and I'm sure the parents were really disappointed.
Yeah. Well, maybe someone got to do it. You don't know. Could be one or two. It's just like,
Sweet.
Christmas concerts can be really boring to sit through.
Oh yeah.
Because your kid's on for 10 seconds, and then like you have to sit through 20 other classes.
Well, and then you have to tell the other parents beside you, yeah, your kid is equally great as
Yeah.
mine, and I
Even
mean,
though
you
they're
don't
not-
believe
no,
that.
no.
Nobody believes that.
Even though it's the kid who's singing completely off key.
Yeah. Well, like
Until
my
some
kids.
do heavy metal Jingle Bells, and then you're like, wow, this is
Cool.
sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
My
But it
kids.
just got better.
Best Christmas concert in
Yeah.
10 years.
My kids have a ton of personality already. I mean, they come by it very honestly, but like, my son is 3, my daughter is gonna be 2, and she might be the strongest female I have ever met. She's about this tall, and you don't fuck with her. She'll put you in your place, and,
Yeah.
and it's funny because she talks quite a bit for a little kid, but when you cross that line with her, she's right up in your face, like, no, Dad, you will not. And so I think they're going to be interesting kids at their Christmas concerts. They're going to be that kid on YouTube whacking another kid on the back of the head or whatever.
You might have a punk band on your hands when you're, yeah.
Well, that's actually funny. My little boy, when he was 9 months old, he was like strumming on my guitars because he started walking really young. So we bought him a ukulele so that he'd stop beating on my nice red shirt or anything. And he would get mad when it would go out of tune, and he'd bring it to us and make us tune it.
Yeah.
Because he hated the sound of it being
Oh,
out
wow.
of tune. I mean, ukulele sounds like garbage anyways. even in tune. But, like, we'd tune it for him, and then he would be like, hey, this is a little better.
It's funny because I know for a fact that there's some ukulele players listening to the show.
Well, you know, I'm sorry. Like, you can love ukulele, and I respect you for it, but, like
Well, they sound like garbage.
you won't be in my band.
Right.
It's okay. You wouldn't want me in your band either. So.
That's true, you wouldn't.
Jordan, you need one more kid so that you can keep the punk rock power trio alive.
No, Jordan's going to be the dad in the band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, no! I'll die well before that, guys.
Do not make him play drums.
Just gonna hit the crash the whole time.
On himself, yeah. I'm almost by that point too. Though my kids have like I have a drum set and guitars and keyboards and stuff in my basement, and I'm just waiting. Like they like playing around with them. But
Yeah.
one day when they're teenagers, if they want to start a punk band or something, I'm going to be like just
Yeah.
What else do you need?
Yeah.
Just buy
Let's
all
go.
your-
Let's go.
Yeah.
Only kids with Marshall stacks.
Yeah. I'll book your shows for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got the connections, right? So-
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, by then, who knows? But,
Well, yeah.
Anyway, back on track to the Moonlit Road. You have, because that could go on. You have an EP you're working on, right?
Yep.
And is this the first thing you have recorded, or is there anything else floating around demo-wise or anything like that?
I have one song that I did live off the floor at
Okay.
the coffee shop studio. That's all that we have.
We did some demos about
Oh yeah, we did some acoustic
Almost-
stuff in a church.
Okay.
almost a year ago. Jordan and I just the acoustic guitar and cajon. I don't know if they're floating around anywhere, but I mean,
We do have
he's
that
got
somewhere.
He's got a CD of them.
But the EP you're working on is kind of going to be the first official.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say the first official thing for sure.
Cool.
And it's kind of a mix mash of Winnipeg musicians that are playing on. The only country musician that's playing on it actually is Greg Arcade. He did
Right
the
on.
drums. And then Sean Barry from Diver Line is doing bass and I think some guitar. And Colin Jessen from The Lovers is doing pretty much everything else to make the bed tracks sound magic. And then Joel and I are throwing our parts on in the next couple weeks.
Cool. And that's, you think, looking at summer sometime to really...
Yeah,
Hope
yeah.
so.
We have some festival gigs coming this summer, and we're hoping to have it done hopefully by Howl at the Moon,
Cool.
which is at the end of July. It'd be nice to have it done by then.
Yeah, that was. I don't know. He told me today, like, you can expect to maybe go do guitars in the next couple of weeks. So.
Cool. So it's on the go.
So,
Yeah, I go in this weekend to do my guitars and vocals. So.
Okay. Well, speaking of festivals and stuff, I mean, I know you you played Howl at the Moon last year. Is that right? Or was it
Yeah,
Rattlesnake?
yeah, we played Howl at the. Joel and I played Howl at the Moon
Okay.
last year.
I know you're on both this year. Both
Play
of those
drums?
festivals?
Yeah, we're playing Howl at the Moon and Rattlesnake this
So
year.
how did you, because you don't have any recordings really out right now or anything like that, how did you get on, I guess, Greg's attention for those festivals?
You know, I have no idea because he messaged me on Twitter and was like, "Hey man, do you have any videos of your music?" And I was like, "Well, I do now, Greg." and then I sent him something and he said, "Cool, I have this cool opportunity. You want to come play?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
Yeah.
And then we played Howl at the Moon, and that's how I kind of got involved with Greg and doing the shows that he puts on. And
Okay.
he's again been a guy that's been really good to me and taught me a lot of stuff kind of as we've been going, that, you know, like stuff that he's had to learn maybe the hard way. He's saved my ass from having to learn the hard way.
Right.
And I think he has a little bit of a punk rock attitude too, because sometimes he'll say to me, you know, you could do that yourself and save yourself some money. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, because like
Yeah.
I was going to pay you to do it, but now you're telling me go learn how to do that.
Yeah.
And so like,
Yeah, he definitely has a DIY thing. Yeah.
yeah, like, and it might be to his own detriment sometimes, because he could make a couple bucks off you, but he doesn't take advantage
Right.
of you. He says you could do something better with that money that you're not going to learn easily on your own.
Right.
So that's kind of been his role for me, is
Okay.
teaching me shit so that I don't have to learn it the hard way. Sort of like Colin too. These guys,
Right.
those two guys in your corner are nice to have.
But aside from, you know, however Greg found you on Twitter,
I don't know.
because like, most bands that I have on the show, regardless of how new they are, how long they've been around, they have like at least like a demo on Bandcamp or something.
Yeah.
You guys literally have the one song that
Yeah.
I was able to find online.
Yeah.
So how are you getting shows? Like, are people just finding you, hearing you at the care home, or?
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Jordan just tells me like, "Oh, hey, I was talking to a person about this and this and this," and I've never understood either, really.
Yeah.
Like
I have
This
this.
sort of happens.
I'm just like I either he called this person or they stumbled across him and,
Right.
and guess there's a gig.
It's both. It's both.
Just check my calendar and say, yeah, I can do it.
I probably live the most interesting life that you'll have ever heard of, because I've done everything from be a burger cook to be a preacher.
Okay.
And everything you could imagine in between. Right now I'm a firefighter, but I'm also a trained scuba diver and all these other weird things that you'd be like, yeah,
That is
you're
true,
full of
yeah.
shit, buddy.
Yeah.
I've written 5 books,
Okay.
and 3 of them are for sale now. So I attract weird people who give me cool opportunities. Oh, I mean, sitting here in green pants.
But fun of my pants. I'm gonna go downstairs and play
hipster.
space with a pick.
And with a Christmas tree in the background too.
Yeah, my
Thinking about that, yeah.
But you're not weird. You got a Christmas tree.
In April.
Welding home on the water ski over in the corner.
Yeah, like I attract weird people and I attract cool people, and usually somewhere in that Venn diagram
Right,
is the
right.
opportunity, and they either love me or hate me, but they'll give me that shot, and I'm pretty good at taking advantage of that shot when I can choke down my anxiety long enough to say
Sure.
that would be cool.
Okay. I guess once you have the EP out, it'll be
Easier.
more- yeah, your
Yeah.
calling card, right? You can
Yeah.
just check this out. Here's the songs. Here's what we can do.
But like with our website and social media and all that stuff, like my wife does that stuff as a side business, so it's really easy for me because I have a lot of people that can just kind of carry my ass through things because they have skills. So where I don't have skills, they're like, all right, but he's likable, so let's just help him out this one time, which then like turns into 10 years of people helping me.
Right.
So yeah.
But that is kind of the very punk rock DIY way of doing things
Yeah.
in general. I mean, that's how this show works, right? Like, a lot of the best bands, I think that regardless of genre, are doing that, kind of helping each other along the way, and
Sure.
it benefits everybody, right? So it's
Yeah, like there's no advantage in I mean, I know I've shit on ukulele players and bassists to use picks or whatever,
Yeah.
but I'm just joking. But like there's no advantage to shitting on somebody, even if
No.
you don't like them or what they're doing. What good does that do you? Like, so you shit on somebody, so they're gonna shit on you.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Now you have a thing between the two of you, but where's that gonna go? Nowhere. So don't do it.
don't be shitty.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's kind of the moral of our music,
moral,
really. Is
yeah.
don't be shitty.
Yeah.
Don't be shitty. Don't do drugs. Don't be extremely mentally ill.
Well, I don't think that's a choice, though. People.
Well, you know, if it was a choice, I don't think I'd fucking choose it. That's for
Right,
sure.
right. So if people don't want to be shitty, how can they? And they want to hear more of your stuff. What's the best thing for them to do? Obviously, the EP is in the works.
Yeah.
But if someone is hearing of you for the first time on this show, and they want to find out more, find out where you're playing shows, that kind of thing. What's the best?
So we have
Shows are on the website, right?
yeah, all of our shows wind up on the moonlitroadband.com website. And we use Twitter and Instagram. We have Facebook, but we don't really use it because I don't like Facebook. But
Okay.
we have those other pages going, and that's the best way to find out what we're doing.
I'll make sure that I tell everyone to go to your Facebook page.
Oh yeah. Join the 50 other people that follow it because I don't know if I even follow it. Actually, I should check.
Probably should.
Yeah. But, yeah.
Are those all under the Moonlit Row? Is it the is important? In
The is important. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Those are the places to find us, and we'll be playing around this summer. Rattlesnake at the end of May, Howl at the Moon at the end of July, Honey Garlic Festival in Manitou at the end of
love
September.
Sounds pretty awesome, actually.
Oh
It's the
yeah,
most Manitoban thing.
And
Honey garlic.
part of the pay is free supper, and like
Pretty good.
If you've never been to Manitou Honey Garlic, good goddamn, is that food good? So like it's actually like I know it sounds like a shitty thing to get paid in food, which has
It
happened.
doesn't sound that bad, actually.
It's not terrible. Like
Better than getting paid not at all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
free show for free or show for food. I choose food.
yeah. And we have a gig
Especially if it's good.
in Clear Lake too. That
Oh, nice.
We played. Joel and I played in Clear Lake last summer, and it was kind of funny because there was a bachelorette party happening at the venue that we were
Okay.
playing at, and they tried to get us to come back with them to play at the Elkhorn Resort where they were staying.
Okay.
And my kid was there, and so I just kind of pointed over and was like, "That's my son. I can't go with you because that's my wife over there too." Yeah. So I think we're going back there again this summer at some point because that was cool. Yeah. But yeah,
They were a responsive audience.
jeez, they were loud. Yeah.
That's what you want, right?
Yeah.
Loudest 8 people at one table.
Yeah, man, they owned that table.
Cool.
They
Well,
didn't
people
own
should
anything else, but-
check out the website. Hopefully, by the time you hear this, the EP will be. I mean, depending when you listen, maybe it's already out.
Yeah.
And if not, check the website, check the social media, things like that. If you want to hear more episodes of this show, go to witchpolice.com. There'll all 200 and probably 90 some episodes by this point are there for free download and streaming. You can also tune in to UMFM on Sunday nights at midnight, which is the prime radio listening time. It's obviously the best time to possibly listen to the radio. If you do happen to tune in on a Sunday at midnight, those are older episodes that kind of get a second win. So it's mid-April right now we're recording this. Might not air until like August or September. So at that point, the CD will be out.
Yeah.
So people can just kind of.
If it's not, Colin's gonna beat me. Oh.
Right, you can just kind of go from your car at midnight or whatever to like wait outside the record store and
Yeah.
buy it immediately, right?
Yeah.
So it's right there.
You could probably go home because I don't think you'll need to camp out and wait for it.
Right, because there's the internet and things like that. And you can
Yeah, like maybe those 8 chicks will be camped out. But
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, if it's already out, I don't think it'll be.
Right. But if you want to camp out, you can.
yeah, we don't mind. We might join
But
you.
send us pictures if you're camping out.
Right.
That'd be cool.
And then you
Yeah.
post them on everything but Facebook.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, right on. Thanks a lot for having me, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we're not used to playing this live.
A perfect sky. You got it in your eye. Ain't seen a cloud all day. We're on a goodbye train. And you put me in the mood. Now on the Moonlit road. You got me feeling good. Can't wait to get you home. Just give me one more kiss, so I can taste your lips. Give me a